All right, among the objections to third-party free practices, I've listed some of these and we've talked about some of them. The primary care doctor will say, oh, you can do it because you're so specialized. Well, hello, most of the people that have done it are not specialized. Most of them are primary care doctors. They also say, well, if I do it, they'll just go down, see somebody else down the street. Okay, now the specialist says, oh, I can't do it because my surgeries and tests and everything's too expensive. The patients won't be able to afford it. And then the generic one, which I really love, it's immoral to deny medical care to those who can't pay. Okay? And let's look at these a little more in detail. You can do it because you're so specialized. Patients want value for their money. Okay? What they want is your time. And if you give them your time, they will pay for it. When I was a resident, we used to go to this outlying clinic like 3 hours outside of New Orleans, and we'd see, oh gosh, there was 3 of us, and we'd see 1.5 gazillion patients in that day. And it was nonstop from the time we got there till the end of the day, and it was so busy that the very first time I got there, I was seeing a patient, the chief resident comes to me and says, look, only 1 complaint per patient. We don't have time for anything more than that, okay? That's what medicine has become today. All these guys, they're on the mill. You're seeing 50, 60 patients a day. You can't do but 1 complaint, okay? That's not how it is in my office. My average first initial consult visit with a patient is 1 hour. I spend an hour with my patient. I mean, that's average. Some of them longer. It depends what the problem is. It makes practicing, being a doctor again. Patients don't care about your background. A lot of the general practitioners I talk to, oh, you're so special. They don't care. They know you're a doctor, and they know you care, and they know if you don't know the answer, you'll go back and try and find out the answer for them. I find in that hour I spend with the patients, I'm dealing with their inner ear stuff. Well, a lot of other things have an impact on the inner ear. Thyroid disease does. If I don't know and I don't know all this stuff, I'll say, hang on, I'll find out. I get back on the internet and get into the books and figure out things for them, find out where they need to go. I mean, I'm back to learning things again like a medical student. All physicians have value to offer their patients. You've got a niche. And if you don't have any particular niche, even just your time is very valuable. If I don't do it, they'll just go down the street to see somebody else. Yes, many of them will. Those are the ones you don't want in your practice. They do not value you. Amen. Okay? I was talking with my office manager, Beth, and she said a good analogy for this is people complaining about over at Target putting up the video cameras for the shoplifters. They're worried the shoplifters will take their business to Walmart. Well, good. If the patients aren't paying you and they don't value your service, let them go somewhere else. I happily refer to my competitors. I really do. The ones that stay with you are truly your patients, and they value you. And they're there for a reason. Every patient that comes into my office, they're there because they want to be there. And they're the ones that are most thankful. Also, new patients will show up. And very often, these are the patients that have been beat up by the medical system. They've been ignored. They've gone in, they've got their 1 complaint, and geez, they happen to have 3, and the other 2 have not been taken care of. And things like this. And those are patients that you can help, and you can make a big difference in their life. I can't do it because my surgeries are too expensive, my tests are too expensive, etc., the complaint of the specialist. Well, yeah, only if you charge unreasonable prices. Okay? One of the first things we did, once we went completely to a cash-based practice, first of all, I thought our office visit fees were too low. Okay? I was spending an hour with a patient with vertigo and getting paid the same as the guy down the street who would spend 2 minutes and give them a prescription for Antivert and send them on their way. Okay, and I have tons of expertise on how to deal with this problem, and they have none. It didn't seem equitable to me. So I adjusted my office visit fees up, okay? But my surgeries, I actually cut them in half, the charges. And because they were too high. For example, a surgery that I would do, the fee was $5,000. Well, insurance was only paying $1,500 to $2,000. I cut it in half. It was $2,500. It was half of what I was charging, but it was still more than most of the insurance companies were paying. Another little story. I had a patient, because of my practice, I have patients that come from everywhere, and I had this one patient coming in. She was telling me she had a back problem, and she was a cash pay patient. She was from out of the country. And I said, well, when you're down here, I can set you up with a pain doctor to look at that for you. And she said, oh, that would be great because it takes so long to see a doctor where I live, on and on. And so I call up this young pain doctor, and I figure, well, maybe I can see if I can help this guy start his practice off, and he seems like he understands this. And he quotes her a price, no, not a reasonable price, but his charges, which I know were about 10 times what he would get from an insurance company. The patient said, oh, no, thank you. And I can understand why. Some patients can afford your services, but would rather spend money on other things, and that's what Catherine was talking about earlier. And there's other patients who really can't afford it, and you think they deserve to have that care. You can do charity care. You don't have to deny that service to them if you feel that's appropriate. But that's your decision, not some third party's decision. It's immoral to deny medical care to those who can't pay. No one's denied medical care. The patients who truly cannot pay, who really need something, most of those patients have Medicaid anyway. Okay? At our office, every patient knows what the fee is for the services before they even make the appointment. Okay, so they can decide to not even make the appointment. Okay? Most doctors' offices, you know how it is. The patient shows up. They don't have any idea what it's going to cost. The doctor doesn't know what it's going to cost. The patient leaves having not paid anything. 3 months later, they get an EOB, and they get the surprise bill. Okay? I tell you, which one's more equitable? The other thing is, 10 different patients, 10 different charges, or 10 different payments. Our office, everybody pays exactly the same price, unless there's some reason I adjust a fee for some reason. Also, too, most medical treatments are not life or death situations. Most of them are quality of life issues. Hearing. Most patients, they could care less if they can hear. Well, some, they want to hear and they want a hearing aid. It's not, they can go their whole life without dealing with it. The third-party system is an immoral system.
That's right.
It's a collusion between doctors and patients to get money from somebody else. That's what that is. Somebody who is an uninterested party, so to speak. Why not to do this? And I wrote this a while back, and I put up there to make more money, okay? And the reason I put that is I looked at it and I said, the way we did it, I don't know if there's any big difference in the amount of money I make. I mean, I make pretty much the same as I did before we made the transition, but we did it so slowly, it's kind of hard for me to say that for sure. And at the same time, too, it's been 5 years since I've even known what the reimbursement is. So maybe if we would not have done this, I'd be making a lot less money now. I don't know. But I'm completely happy with the financial situation with this. The other thing I will mention, when we first did this, a lot of physicians were really kind of, oh, God, I don't know how you're going to do this. And, they had some negative responses to it. Now, they all wanted to do it, but they weren't so happy about us doing it.